The security guard's voice had that edge people get when they're trying to stay professional, but something feels very wrong. It was just past 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd been at the country house for maybe 8 hours. "Mr. Callahan, your daughter-in-law is here. She's got movers with her. Says the apartment belongs to her now." I was still holding my coffee, still warm. "They're loading furniture into a truck," he continued. "Should I call the police?" I didn't answer right away. Just kept looking out at the lake. The water was completely still. "Mr. Callahan?" "Let them in," I said. Silence on his end. "You're sure?" "Completely sure. Don't interfere. Let her take whatever she wants." He hesitated. "Sir, they're emptying the place." "I know." I could hear him breathing, trying to figure out if I'd lost my mind. "There's a surprise waiting for her in there," I said. "She'll find it soon enough." I hung up before he could ask anything else. Pause. The wedding had been 6 days ago. My son married her in front of 200 people. I smiled through the whole thing, shook hands, made a toast, wrote a check that would have covered a down payment on a house. She had no idea what I knew. And she definitely had no idea what I'd left behind in that apartment. My son's name is Eric. He's 32. Works in marketing, makes decent money, but nothing like what I built over the years. I met Lauren about 14 months ago. Eric brought her to Sunday dinner, and she smiled at all the right moments, laughed at my jokes, asked about my business, touched Eric's arm when he talked. She seemed fine. We didn't have long conversations. She wasn't warm, but she wasn't cold, either. Just polite. The kind of polite that doesn't leave much to remember. Eric seemed happy. That mattered more than anything else. The engagement happened fast. 4 months after that first dinner, he proposed at some restaurant downtown. She posted pictures immediately. The ring looked expensive. I didn't ask how much he spent. The wedding planning took over everything. Lauren had opinions about every detail. Flowers, music, seating arrangements. She'd call Eric during work meetings. He started looking tired. I kept my mouth shut. About 2 months before the wedding, Eric mentioned they'd been looking at apartments. Lauren wanted something bigger, closer to her friends. "We might need help with the down payment," he said. I told him I'd think about it. That's when Lauren started being different around me. A little colder. Her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. I noticed, but I didn't react. Then 3 weeks before the wedding, my lawyer called me about something completely unrelated. That's when everything started making sense. My lawyer's name is David. We've worked together for 23 years. He doesn't call unless it's important. "Richard, I need to ask you something," he said. "Did you recently update your will or any property documents?" I hadn't. "Someone requested copies of your asset portfolio last week. Used your name and information. The request came through a legal filing service." He sent me the paperwork. The request had Eric's address on it, but the signature wasn't his. The handwriting was feminine, careful, practiced. I didn't say anything to Eric. Not yet. Instead, I started paying attention differently. Lauren began asking questions at family dinners. Casual things. Where was my country house located? Did I still own the building downtown? Was the city apartment under my name or a trust? She'd ask while serving salad or pouring wine, like it was just conversation. Eric never seemed to notice. I answered vaguely, smiled, changed the subject. 2 weeks before the wedding, I hired someone to look into Lauren's background. Nothing dramatic, just basic information. She'd been engaged before, twice. Both times to men significantly older than her. Both engagements ended within months of the wedding. One of those men still had a restraining order active. The investigator sent me screenshots of old social media posts she deleted. Posts about financial independence, about marrying smart, about securing your future. I read them twice. Then I made a phone call to David and started arranging things very carefully. The wedding happened exactly as planned. I watched Lauren smile in her white dress, watched Eric look at her like she was everything. During the reception, she pulled me aside near the bar. "Richard, I wanted to thank you," she said. "For everything. For welcoming me into the family." Her hand touched my arm. Light, calculated. "Eric mentioned you might help us with an apartment," she continued. "Something in our name. A wedding gift, maybe." I looked at her directly. "We'll see," I said. Her smile tightened just slightly. That night, after everything ended, I went back to my city apartment, the one I'd owned for 19 years. 3 bedrooms, prime location, worth about $2 million. I'd already moved everything that mattered to the country house weeks ago. Photos, documents, my mother's jewelry, personal items. What remained was furniture, art prints, kitchen supplies, things that looked valuable but weren't. I also left something else: cameras, small ones, professionally installed in every room, feeds going directly to my phone and a cloud server, and paperwork sitting in the top drawer of my desk, documents that clearly showed the apartment was part of a family trust. Eric's name listed as future beneficiary, not Lauren's. Also in that drawer, a folder containing every piece of information my investigator had found. Printed, organized, highlighted. I locked the apartment and drove to the country house. Then I waited. It took her 6 days. I opened the camera feed on my phone while finishing my coffee. Lauren was already inside. She'd brought 3 movers and a truck, professional operation. She was directing them with confidence, pointing at the couch, the dining table, the bedroom furniture. All of it. I heard her say through the audio. Everything goes. One of the movers asked if she had documentation proving ownership. She showed him something on her phone, probably a fake document. He shrugged and kept working. I watched her walk through the apartment like she owned it, opening cabinets, checking closets, calculating value. She hadn't found the desk drawer yet. I called Eric. He answered on the 3rd ring, voice thick with sleep. Dad, it's barely 6 o'clock. Where's Lauren? Pause. She said she was going to the gym. Why? Check your location sharing. See where her phone is. I heard him moving around, then silence. That's your apartment address. I know. Why would she? Come to the country house. I said. Bring your laptop. Don't call her. Don't text her. Just come. Dad, what's happening? You'll see everything when you get here. Drive safe. I hung up. On the camera feed, Lauren had just opened the desk drawer. She pulled out the trust documents first. I watched her face change as she read them. Then she found the folder underneath. She went completely still. Her hand was shaking when she opened it. Eric arrived 2 hours later. His hair was messy. He looked confused and scared. I handed him my phone without saying anything. The camera feed showed Lauren sitting on the floor surrounded by papers. The movers had left. The truck was gone. She was alone reading through the folder page by page. What is this? Eric asked. Watch. Lauren's face on the screen looked nothing like the woman he'd married 6 days ago. She was crying, but not the sad kind. The angry kind. She made a phone call. I couldn't hear who she called, but her mouth moved fast. She was pacing, gesturing. Dad, I don't understand. I took the phone back and opened a different folder, showed him screenshots, background reports, financial records from her previous relationships, court documents. He read slowly. His face went pale. She was looking into your assets before we got engaged. 2 months before you proposed, I said. That's not possible. Keep reading. He scrolled through everything. The deleted social media posts, the restraining order, the timeline of her previous engagements. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me before the wedding? He didn't answer, just kept staring at the evidence. She tried to steal the apartment this morning, I said. Brought movers, told security it belonged to her now. I let her walk right in. Why? Because now we have her on camera attempting theft, breaking and entering, fraud. I showed him the video footage, time-stamped, recorded, saved. Eric sat down heavily. What do we do now? I handed Eric a document David had prepared 3 days ago. Annulment papers, I said. Fraud invalidates the marriage in this state. She misrepresented herself, attempted to steal marital assets before community property even existed. Eric held the papers, but didn't look at them. 6 days, he said quietly. We've been married 6 days. I know. Everyone we know was at that wedding. I know that, too. He finally looked up at me. His eyes were red. Did you ever like her? No, I said. But I wanted to be wrong. On the camera feed, Lauren was making another call. This one lasted longer. She kept shaking her head. Then she threw her phone across the room. David's filing the annulment petition today, I continued. The video evidence gets submitted with it, the background check, everything. She'll fight it. She can't. The proof is documented. She tried to steal property that wasn't hers using false pretenses. That's a crime. Eric rubbed his face with both hands. What happens to her? That depends on whether she leaves quietly or makes this worse. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered on speaker. You bastard. Lauren's voice came through sharp and clear. You set me up. You set yourself up, I said calmly. I just gave you the opportunity. Eric will never forgive you for this. He's sitting right here. Want to explain yourself to him? Silence. Then she hung up. Eric looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Thank you, he whispered. The annulment went through in 42 days. Lauren didn't contest it. Her lawyer saw the evidence and advised her to sign everything immediately. She did. Eric moved into the country house with me for a few weeks. We didn't talk much at first. He'd sit on the dock in the mornings with his coffee. I'd do the same. Eventually, he started asking questions. How I knew. When I suspected. Why I waited. I answered everything honestly. I almost told you a dozen times. I admitted. But you loved her. Or you thought you did. I feel like an idiot. You're not. She was convincing. That's what made her dangerous. He nodded slowly. The apartment stayed empty for 2 months. Then Eric asked if he could move in. I transferred the title to him the same week. Lauren left the state. I heard she moved to Arizona. Someone else's problem now. Eric started dating again about 6 months later, cautiously. He introduced me to someone named Maya after they'd been seeing each other for 4 months. She was a teacher, warm, asked real questions. Didn't care about my property portfolio. I liked her immediately. Last Sunday they came for dinner. Eric helped me grill. Maya made salad. We ate on the deck and watched the sunset over the lake. Before they left, Eric pulled me aside. I never thanked you properly. He said. You already did. No. I mean for protecting me. Even when I couldn't see it. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. That's what fathers do. I said.